What's up, everyone, and welcome to the School of Personal Finance. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what I call the stages of financial happiness. So now I know that money cannot buy happiness, and that is very true, but it surely can help, especially when the money that you have is a direct result of all your hard work and effort. Let's get started. I always used to joke around that a psych degree would serve me much better being a financial advisor rather than a CFP. The truth is, it's all your emotions. You don't have to have a mathematical mind. You don't have to be investment savvy to be good with money. Emotion is what drives people. That's what gets people to take action, is feeling emotion. That's why whenever I would sit down with somebody and go through their goals and all that fun stuff, I would always tie an emotion to whatever it is that they wanted to save for. I used to call it buckets, and it's actually included in one of the stages here. I would break people's goals down into different buckets. So for example, if they wanted to save for a kid's college education, we would have our college bucket over here. And then any money that went into that, you had a direct emotional connection to that bucket of money. That's for little Johnny to go to college. So I'm excited to put money into that bucket. Or for retirement, I would actually get people to sit there and think about when they want to retire. What does it actually look like? Am I going to be laying on the beach somewhere? What am I going to go, wherever the hell I'm going? What am I going to do during retirement that's going to bring that emotion, that happiness out of me, that's going to get me enthusiastic about putting money into that bucket, into that retirement bucket? Or maybe there's a 10-year bucket. Maybe there's a bucket where I want to start my own business. And I could picture what that business looks like once I get it off the ground and running. And it's going to motivate me to put money into that bucket so that I could eventually take action and start my own business. So it's always easier to move forward and to do things when you tie in the emotional aspect of it. So whenever I was sitting with somebody who was either just starting out or just starting a family or just getting going, I would sit down and I would walk them through what I call these stages of financial happiness. And I would tell people there's no timeline for this. The quicker that you could get through these stages, the better, the happier that you're going to be. And these stages still apply no matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you are in life. If you could start completing these stages, happiness is around the corner for you. So the first stage is what I call having a big happiness gap. And the happiness gap, all that is the gap between your monthly income and your monthly expenses. The bigger that gap is, the more it opens up doors and opportunities for you to live a happier life. When your gap is very narrow or there is no gap, it leads to stress. It is very hard to be happy in life when you are always stressed out about money. When this gap is wide, it gives you the opportunity to pay off your debts, to invest, to put money in those different buckets to save for your goals. It opens up opportunities for you. So that is stage number one, increase that happiness gap. So now the second stage of financial happiness is when you could turn around and say, I have no more bad debt. You could go back and watch my other videos on good debt versus bad debt and the bad debt blues. But when you could say, I have no more bad debt, that is such a weight that is lifted off of your shoulders. It is stress that is melted away from you. There's no other option but to be a little bit happier when you don't have that pressure on your shoulders. Stage number 3 of financial happiness is what I call having a fat cushion. So what I mean by that is that you have so much cash in the bank that you sleep like a baby at night. Now that number might be different for everybody. Maybe it's 50 grand for you. But whatever that number is, you have it sitting in liquid cash that it just makes you feel so warm and fuzzy. It could do nothing but bring you financial happiness. The fourth stage of financial happiness I call heavy buckets. So what that means is that those buckets, those different goals that you've established for yourself, they're starting to fill up. They're starting to get heavy. So if it's college funding, if it's saving for retirement, whatever your goals are, if it's buying that beach house down in Florida, that you're starting to get closer to achieving those goals, that those buckets, they're filling up, they're getting pretty heavy. And now the fifth stage of financial happiness is what I call establishing FU money. So now I didn't coin that term. I think it was J.L. Collins in the book, The Simple Path to Wealth. And then somebody else wrote a book, I believe it was Dan Locke, actually called FU Money. But all FU money is, well, I think you could guess what it is. But it's having enough money that you could basically tell your job or anybody else, F you. But seriously though, it is a very strong position to be in, and it allows you to take a risk, to take a chance, and to follow your passion, especially if you're not happy with your current job. So that leads to the sixth financial stage of happiness, which is what I call your career is your calling. So obviously you are going to be much, much happier in life if the work that you're doing is your calling. If you are passionate about it, if you love it, if you would do it for free, it's just going to lead to happiness. So if you could reach this stage, you're in a very good situation. And then the seventh and final stage of financial happiness is when you no longer have to work for money. So that's when you've hit the point that you have enough, either through investments, through passive income, through real estate, through whatever it is, through pensions, where you have enough income coming in that you no longer need to work for money. And that is the final stage of financial happiness. So now don't get me wrong. I do strongly believe that money cannot buy you happiness. But if you go through these stages and you get all the way to the end, especially if you're like 30 years old, by the time you get to the last stage, how could you not live a happier life? The biggest way to move the needle with all this stuff is to focus on income. There's only so much that you could cut out from your expenses. So to focus everything on increasing your income and figuring out ways to earn more money, that is what's going to lead you through these stages much, much faster. So remember, money is only a tool. It's a tool that could help us enjoy our lives more. But at the same point, if we don't really understand it and we don't know how it works and we're bad with it, it could really ruin our lives. And it could bring us down the road of darkness and depression and stress. After years and years of helping people with their finances and with money, one thing that I realized were the people that were always hit the hardest were the ones who stuck their head in the sands. The ones who did not really want to know what was going on in their financial lives. Maybe they depended on their spouse or their loved ones to take care of everything, and then one day things blew up and they just got sideswiped to the side of the head. Those were the situations that were always the worst. And a lot of them would end in divorce or in just very bad situations where maybe it would be bankruptcy and starting over. So financial education is really the first step to all this stuff. So just the fact that you're watching videos like this one, it is a step in that right direction. So go out there, get started, start increasing that gap, because I promise you it will lead to a less stressful, happier life. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. Please, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, comment below if you found this video helpful and what your biggest takeaway was from it. Check out schoolofpersonalfinance.com, friend me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all the fun places. I will see you again in the next video. Thanks a lot.